What's up, y'all? I wanted to take a moment for today's episode. As it's December and we're kind of reflecting on the year, one of probably the most painful part of my 2025 was losing Lucy. Lucy, for anyone who doesn't know, was my beloved cat of 19 years, and we had to say goodbye to her this year. And this episode deals with that a lot because Chris is the co-producer of Lucy and Ron. And even though Lucy and Ron is on hiatus at the moment, I still use present tense in saying that. And you'll see why as you listen to the episode. But I wanted to take a moment to kind of put it out there for anyone who has suffered loss this year, be it a pet or a loved one. And I feel like there's just a lot of death in the world right now. We're going through a bleak time. There's no way to sugarcoat it. I know this year I have people close to me in my life who have lost parents. One of my very close friends lost their spouse. It's a heavy time. And I know that that's not unique to anybody. I think it's something we're all going through. The world is just going through a very difficult time right now. And I think, people die all the time. Obviously, that's part of life. But I feel like it's maybe amplified in times like these. And so I hope that you get some catharsis here, and this kind of helps you. And if you have any loose ends or reconciliations that should happen in your life, I encourage you to do it. I encourage you to, especially if you're the one at fault, which is the case of myself in this episode, which again, like we'll get into all that. And for anyone who has lost a pet in particular, it's losing Lucy was and still is a very painful thing. And I still have moments. Lucy was my companion throughout my entire adult life. So I don't know an adult life without her. So since her passing in July, every life moment in many ways has been a first without her. And that's been hard. My first birthday as an adult without her, my first holiday season as an adult without her. And that's heavy. And I know that's a feeling for people when you've had a pet for a long time. And we also welcomed Luna and Livorno into our home. Those are our new kittens. And they are absolutely wonderful. And, and I know we talked about this at Lucy's initial passing, but it's one of those things, sometimes with the loss of the pet, people get in their own head and they think, oh, is it a replacement or something like that? And that's not, the answer to that is, of course not. Of course, there's no replacing any pet. That's not how life works. But it's more, the way I look at it is it's actually a continuation of that love and accepting that about yourself, accepting that we are a cat household. And the best way to honor that is to always keep our home open and full of cats, basically. And when I say this, I'm not saying don't give yourself time to grieve, and however much time that is, depends on you. Like there's no, the way I see it, there's no right or wrong answer to that. But for me personally, when Lucy passed, we did take some time, and it was just my wife and myself. And after a certain amount of time, I came to the realization that all I was doing was prolonging my own suffering even more so. And what I mean by that is that the emptiness of the household without cats, basically, um, it was really hard. And, we needed to have it for a little bit to just properly process things. But after a certain amount of time, I just realized that, I'm ready for, I'm ready for that new chapter, and I don't know how it's going to start. Like it's not like we necessarily went out seeking Luna in Livorno per se, but we knew that we were, ready to be open to, whatever was next. And when we came across Luna in Livorno, we realized that was it. And it was a very wonderful, special thing, and they are wonderful kittens, and they seem very, very happy, and it's been great, and it's been healing, and by no means is that a replacement for Lucy. Again, that's not how it works, but it's a continuation of that love. And so for those of you who have gone through this or are going through it, I hope you find some solace. I apologize for a little bit of rambling here, but this is hard for me to get through. It's hard for me to reflect on. It's still, I'm having a hard time not completely choking up right now, which you may be able to hear in my voice. But I want to, in closing, say again, thank you so much, everyone. I mean, you guys really just blew my mind and humbled me with all of the emails, and some of you sent e-cards via email, and the tweets and the Facebook messages and the posts. And thank you so much. I tried to get back to everybody, and I'm pretty sure I did, but if you left any type of condolence and for some reason I didn't get back to you, know that I appreciate it more than I can put into words, and it means so much. And it was, it meant a lot. It really meant a lot. And in my personal life, all the people who reached out who had known Lucy. I mean, again, like I had Lucy my entire adult life, and pretty much at the beginning of my adult life. So I moved to different cities. I had a lot of different chapters. So there were people in Seattle and Nashville and Pittsburgh and here in Los Angeles. And it was, and even Bloomington, Indiana, I mean, I had Lucy in college. So yeah, it's reflecting on that. In this episode in particular, I wanted to say, as the year is coming to a close, thank you so very much for helping me through that brutal moment. It means a lot. And I hope that, this episode helps you if you're going through something similar. I hope it helps you in terms of, friendships and family and companionship and pets and all of that. And I hope this podcast does that in general. Like that's kind of part of the mission here, is to kind of alleviate life's journey through the stories, of the people that are guests on this, and share so much of themselves and their own journey and how they've, kind of swam against the status quo to make something beautiful. And so thanks for being part of this. And I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And I know this is a little bit heavy, so I'm going to buffer in a quick reminder that Left at Wall is out now. Can't just go right into the episode after this. So enjoy today's episode. Here's a quick reminder that my movie Left at Wall is out now. And seriously, thank you so very much. And Lucy, we miss you. and we love you very, very much. What's up, everybody? Got a little bit of news. Left It Wall recently won Best Feature at the Pro to Post International Film Festival in Genoa, Italy. You know what's crazy? I didn't even know the film festival was based in Italy when we applied. But yeah, Left It Wall won Best Feature. We are very, very honored and humbled for the award. And thank you so, so much to everyone at the Pro to Post International Film Festival for including us and selecting us for this amazing honor. And you can catch Left It Wall now. It is out now. It is on a bunch of platforms: Apple TV, YouTube Movies, Google Play, Amazon, Xbox, and you can watch it for free on Tubi. Left It Wall is on Tubi. Tubi's my favorite. I got to be honest. Tubi is my favorite. It is free there. So come on. How can you go wrong? It's free. Left It Wall, Tubi, or anywhere else. But on Tubi, it's free. All right. Peace. Episode 118. Chris Liatsis. Chris Liatsis is an artist and illustrator. He is the other half of Lucy and Ron. I would write him. Chris would draw him. Lucy and Ron was a labor of love for us for a long time. Out of necessity, it was an on-again, off-again pursuit. At one point in our professional and personal relationship, I messed up. Fortunately, we were able to reconcile, and we revisit that time in this interview. This is an episode about friendship, collaboration, love, loss, art, and growing up Greek. Please welcome to the show, Chris Liatsis. Chris Liatsis, good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you too, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing well, and I finally, even though we've been collaborating for years, I finally found out exactly how to pronounce your last name, because I've only, when it's a webcomic, you only ever see it in print.
That's the bane of my existence. Everybody sees my name all over the places. Now that I'm getting into gallery spaces, they all think they know how to pronounce my name, and I'm just like, they at least recognize that I'm Greek, so I'll take that as a win.
Yeah, no, totally, man. And congrats on everything you've been up to. We're going to work our way up to it. And of course, we're going to talk about our project, Lucy and Ron, which this is, it made sense that this was the appropriate December episode for you this year, with Lucy no longer being with us. I still can't even get it all out, dude. Like, it's, oh my God, I was a wreck. I mean, when I texted you, it was everything was glossy on my screen because I was just, I was a floodgate for a while. And any given moment, something could, I could see a Rainbow Bridge poem randomly on social media and I lose a day.
Yeah. Like whatever you were doing doesn't matter. Like, that's it. I'm taking the rest of the day off. Forget it. Like, you can go do what you're going to do, but I am still processing this. You lost a very, very close friend, and it's always hard whenever that happens. Like, I've had a number of animals through my life, and like I had a few of them that were really, really special. And when you finally do lose them, like, you cherish the time that you have. Always be grateful for the time that you have with the people and the animals that are important to you. Yeah. Because that's really where it's always the small things in life that make it worth living. It's not the big things. It's not the things that cost you money or time or anything like that. It's the time you spend. And that's where your wealth comes from.
No, that's the truth, man. That's the truth. And there are times, and now we have, we have 2 new kittens. And they're
adorable.
Thanks, buddy.
Very, very cute.
They are just balls of joy, and we'll be working our way up to it because there's actually already been people going like, "Is there going to be a Luna and Livorno comic?" And I'm like, "Well, let's let them settle in
Let's cross that bridge when we get to it."
Chris is pretty busy. I'm pretty busy, but never say never. But yeah,
no, definitely not.
There's been those moments where like I'll kind of wake up and I know I got a lot of stuff to do, but then it's just like, my wife is like right on my shoulder and then two kittens are like nestled in between both of us. And I'm just like, I'm going to hit snooze, it's just like,
you're like, it's not that important.
It's really
whatever I need to do, it's not that important.
Exactly. Like this is kind of what matters. So those moments are just, very, very precious. And I still, I had years and years of those moments with Lucy that, of course, were, I cherish those so much. But let's get into you before we work our way up to our collaboration. So I know a little bit about your origin story, but so it's been Brooklyn your whole life, yeah?
Yeah, pretty much on and off. Like I was born in Manhattan Hospital, spent a few years early on in Staten Island. Parents got a house up in the Lower Hudson, but I've always had family here in Brooklyn. And we had been in Brooklyn itself for about 4 generations.
Wow.
Like my great-grandfather, he owned a fish restaurant and diner over in Crown Heights. And this is before like a lot of the Caribbean immigrants started coming in and the neighborhood really started changing. But, where people eat, you're usually going to find Greeks. That's always how it kind of, like, Giannis Papas always has the joke with his character, Mr. Panos, like, the Greek diner is the Greek social security system. You need work, you get the job here. It's okay. You wash dishes, you're fine. So it really is like that with a lot of diners across all of New York City. They're usually Greek owned. And it's a generational thing. It's something that really does apply to the community as a whole. And it really does speak to how connected we are all to food. And food's a really big and important thing.
That part of the world, man. It's, because over in Italy, that's the case too. And
absolutely.
A lot of cross-pollination there. So then you're 4th generation in the States as far. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Came around like my great-grandfather and my great-grandmother, they came around roughly around the same time, about the 19 teens, so like 1915 to 1920.
Now, do you still have family in Greece, and are you close with them?
Yes.
Okay.
Not close to the family in Greece, but we're reconnecting with my family in Cyprus.
Okay. And is that has WhatsApp helped with that?
It hasn't helped to an extent, but it's mostly been Facebook, believe it or not.
Really? Okay. No.
Yeah. Another meta platform, but that's the thing. Like it's one of the great things about the internet is that it does allow us for more immediate communication and immediate connection with those who are just completely on opposite ends of the planet in many cases.
I mean, that is very fascinating to me, and yeah, I totally agree. And it's so interesting to me how, look, there's plenty of pros and cons about the digital village we find ourselves in. Sure. But one of the definite pros, and I know you and I have kind of talked about this just casually as friends, but the way that my family has been able to reconnect with the ancestors in Italy, and it's just because it's so much easier now. I mean, we have a big WhatsApp chat with everybody that people amazing. Will just, it's wonderful. I freaking love it. The coolest thing, and I don't know if I ever got to tell you this story, but there's a little Forza Napoli group in my neighborhood in San Pedro. And they're not as active now. I mean, I was also, about at least 20 years younger than everybody else there. But it was really cool. Like they'd be playing the Forza Napoli games. And I remember one time we were watching the game in real time. Like it was on live, and it was like 10 in the morning in California. We're all at this pizza spot. And my cousin was at the game. So I was showing people videos on my WhatsApp that my cousin was sending me from the game. And I was just like, this is my cousin. He's there because he lives in Shishano. And it's just cool
awesome.
That we can do that now. And it's like really, and back in the day. And it's like sometimes I think about like, oh, well, why are we like at first you kind of are just like, well, I guess our generation is more like we prioritize travel and we want to learn languages and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, but also, a generation ago, it was you had to send a letter, then you had to wait, then you probably effed up something, so said letter got sent back to you, so you sent it again, and then you probably effed up something else, so it gets sent. Then on the 3rd time, and before you know it, about 6 months have passed, and then you get something back randomly out of freaking nowhere, and so it was just so much hard. Now it's like a WhatsApp thing,
It's now it's nothing. Like for an example, like my grandmother and my great grandmother, they would usually try to make contact back with their family back in the hills of Sparta, and one of the things that was always a little difficult, especially on my great-grandmother's end, is that she was bilingual, fully fluent in English, fully fluent in Greek, couldn't read or write a fucking lick of it, but knew her numbers in and out. So she was always she always knew how to handle the books, although she didn't always know what they were for. But the point is that they always tried to make time to set up phone calls, because back then there was probably one phone for the entire village that was at a local deli or restaurant or cafe. And everybody would basically just book time to make calls or receive calls coming through. And but that's how much we've changed as people, as a global culture, especially with those of us who have, spanned the world with what families we have. How much has changed over the last 100 years alone?
Yeah. So you kind of grew up. What was it dominantly a Greek neighborhood where you grew up in Brooklyn? Or I mean, I'm sure there had to have been a little bit of everything, but
a little bit of everything. It's Bay Ridge, so you've got a mix of Irish, you got a mix of Italian, Greek, a lot, and you have a few Central Europeans. So you've got Germans, you've got the Scandinavians, you've got like I said, plenty of Irish to go around. And then you had, this is like the 70s and 80s, and a lot of these families were starting to merge. So there's less of a stigma when it came to just staying within your culture, staying within Italians marry Italians, Greek marry Greeks. It doesn't say that didn't still happen. But now you had Irish marrying Italians, Greeks marrying Italians. And everybody started kind of intermingling and being all these mixes of different people, but you really do see the common threads of human culture throughout that, where a lot of it, especially for a lot of these families, and now it is effortlessly true with all of our Yemeni neighbors here in Bay Ridge, or Palestinian neighbors, plenty of Levantine. We have new African populations moving in. We have a lot of South Asian, a lot of Russian, Central Asian, East Asian families moving in and becoming part of this very diverse neighborhood here. And honestly, if you came to one of our street fairs, you would love it. 25 block stretch.
Oh, I know
for
that.
the whole day. I've worked two consecutive years at the Third Avenue Festival representing my art game, and it has been enlightening every time. And it's been really invigorating to see all these different cultures and peoples come together and kind of just sharing a little bit of the sunlight.
Yeah, dude. No, that's fantastic. Yeah, isn't it crazy that it's like there was a time where, you didn't intermingle. Like my grandmother. So my grandmother made it to 101. My grandmother on my dad. And dude, wild enough, I just was in Pittsburgh at the end of November. My other grandmother just turned 100. So we had a party for her 100. So both my grandmas, and my grandma on my dad's side, she made it to 101. She passed a few years ago, and I remember she told me this story several times over the years, and it was one of her. She still remembered it up until the end when she was maybe 17 years old or something. She was seeing this guy, and the guy's dad took her aside. And he goes we're Greek and my son's not going to be going around with any Italian girl. And she still remembered that. And she couldn't see him anymore. And I was like, really? It's basically the same thing. I mean, it isn't.
There's some differences, but they're neighbors. They're neighbors.
Neighbors. They've always pretty much gotten along. I'm like, really? That was like he was opposed to such a thing. But yeah, man, they did not. That was a thing at one point in time.
It was a very big cultural thing because you still had the split between the Catholic faith and the Orthodoxy.
Right.
And that's a big difference. And now it's with Pope Leo and the Patriarch of the Greek Orthodox Church, they're now talking about kind of no, look, we've been in this conflict for far too long. We need to work together. We need to come to an agreement. And that's great. That's what I want to see out of many of these different canons of Christianity. There should be a means of us making things amenable just for communication's sake. And if you're really talking about the Christian ethic, you couldn't ask for anything more than that.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of, I kind of walked away from all of it a long time ago, so I don't really. Sure. But yeah, it just seems like I don't know. Whenever I hear about those types of conflicts, I kind of take a pause and I go, "Oh, that's still a thing." And of course, it is. It's been it's been one of the oldest conflicts in humanity, and will sadly always exist to some extent. But yeah, like the different sects of Christianity, it's just like you guys are all like. I mean, I don't know. Like the dude said the same stuff. Like what do you guys?
Like you're all following the same dude and the same teachings, which we also follow a lot of the Buddhist teaching, but let's not get into that right now. But,
yeah. We could really take a deep dive and think about how isn't it weird that this story existed for generations and generations? I don't know, but
it might be something to that. You mean we're all one big happy family and we're just having kind of generational trauma on generational trauma? We're not really resolving anything? Oh, no, that's complete nonsense. Complete nonsense.
Oh, man. Let's get it back to you. When did you start drawing and become interested in art?
That was ages and ages ago. Like as soon as I was able to, enough and had at least decent enough motor skills to draw, I just started doing it, and it was very much second nature to me. It was something that's always helped me kind of just have this creative expression, have this sense of self-soothing, therapizing method. Where if I was ever having like difficult traumas or emotions growing up, it was like, you know what, let me just draw something out and just kind of work through it. And and it wasn't really a conscious act by therapizing. It was just that was just what I do. But it always felt good to have created something, and over the years it just became a larger and larger aspect of my personality. I was always known to be the artist. I always had like a notebook full, like there's maybe like 10% full of all my school notes, and the other 90% are just random fucking doodles that I was doing. And I started taking it a lot more seriously through high school and getting into college, and doing it was always a big thing because I was trying to learn like animation and design and graphics and just trying to be in the best spaces I possibly could, just to get a good foundation underneath me so that when I can reach to the next stage and start building the life that I want to lead, which would be in fine art. And eventually I finally got there. And it was never going to be the perfect moment, but you have to basically say, you know what? Now's the time. It was a better time maybe 10 years ago, but now, perfect time. Because that's really what it comes down to. You just have to take something that you're passionate about and continue following it. The sooner you give up on it, the sooner it dies. The sooner you invest into it, the sooner it thrives.
Oh, that's true.
How we're a little bit of a crunch camera right now, but we'll go through the large portfolio that I've developed over the last 2 years.
Oh yeah, man, you've done a ton of stuff all over the place.
Yeah, dude. This last year has been eye-opening, to say the least.
Well, did it come naturally for you? Like just knowing how, because like I can't, well, you know this about me because of the way we've collaborated. I can't draw to save my life. I don't know how. I mean, I don't even know. I mean, like when I watch something, and I've watched you do sketches before, and it's still like, it's almost like a superpower to me, like how you're able to like, the exact shape to start with to get this desired result, which is an image of whatever it is you're doing. And to me, like, I don't know, did that just come naturally to you? Like at first?
The passion for it definitely did come naturally, and it should. It should be an instinctual response you have with any kind of creative pursuit, whether that's writing or performance, whether that's musical or stage, or if that's something a little bit more visually narrated, whether that's dance or sculpture or drawing or painting, whatever the case may be. Even, digital spaces of just like animating or puppetry or anything like that. But the big thing is that it's talents are a consistent disciplined practice.
Sure.
Just with your stand-up, you're doing crowd work. That's not something that everybody comes to naturally, but it's something that you practice and hone and sharpen over time. And, being able to transpose random shapes into a complete image, that's the same thing. It's regular practice, sharpening yourself. You are the blade. And the action of practice is the act of sharpening.
Mm-hmm. But like, how old were you? Or not even how old were you, but like, was there a thing where it's just like you took a stab at drawing a picture and it was, oh, you can do this? Like, was that kind of, you know what I mean? I feel like people that can do what you do, there's just something about it where it's just like you see the world or whatever, and you kind of know how to put it on paper to some extent. Obviously, there was teaching along the way, I'm sure, and you know, years and years and years of honing the craft. But it's just so fascinating to me how there's just sort of like some people just have an eye for it and then others just don't.
Yeah, and they struggle with it. And a lot of that comes down to the one thing that we all have as children is unbound imagination. Because think of it this way. You're off on the street or in the park or anything else like that. You find a stick. And as a kid, that stick is everything. That's a sword. That's a gun.
Right.
That's a broom. That's a magic wand. That's the staff of power. That's like it's anything and everything that you want it to be. It could be the steering wheel of a car. It could be literally anything. But that's the point. Artistry and creativity is a matter of just using that inner imagination that the child that you were still has, and as long as you're able to kind of embrace the idea of who you were as who you are. It's kind of just, what's the word for it? The psychological term, integration. It's the integration of the full self. So for me, when it came to, doing the whole art thing, that when I finally did realize it, I may have been like just going into high school and then, like taking art classes with some of my elder, with different teachers, and just kind of recognizing like, oh, these are actual professional artists. These are people who have trained and honed their craft. And then I see my fellow classmates in these art classes, and they're of a wide range of different ages. Some are seniors, some are freshmen like me, some are like in between all those spaces, but they all are at different levels. And some are still very amateurish, and others are very, very, very practiced, but they only know how to do one style. Like some are just like hyper realistic, others a little bit more abstract, some are a little bit more surrealistic. And me, I'm multidisciplinary. Like I can make something photorealistic, and at the same time I can bend and shape it into a wild dream, and then come out the other end of it with just wild expressive color, and have that all happen within the same piece. And that's something that's always been something I've always kind of loved about my style, is that because I have this kind of eclectic sense, I don't really feel boxed in. I know where this box is, I know where that box is, and I know where the other box is. So I can hop between, build threads between, and then from building those spaces between, I can start expanding further out from there. And you can kind of see that with the painting behind me here. This is called Offer of a Fractured Heart. Pull it closer to the camera because it's a little blurry back there.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful piece. Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's awesome. I will tell you, this podcast is mostly audio. Like I do the video clip, but
fair
I just don't want you to go like too nuts for it. It's just oh man, I appreciate the effort, but
yeah, no, I totally get it. But that's the thing. Like everybody, if you want to take a look at a lot of this art,
photo, everybody,
we'll give you
the you're gonna have to go online to see the entire portfolio.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to do visual narrative in an audio format, but we make the best of what we can do.
So, well, then, what did you do? Did you study it at university, or what was post high school?
Post high school, I went to a state school, SUNY school, Oneonta, and it was a great school. There were a lot of really good educators there. It was a good program that I was going into, but it was in its infancy since this is like 2000, 2001. Digital art was very, very new, very, very rough and raw. But the good thing is that because it was an open canvas, it allowed me to really play with a lot of different tools. And I'm a self-starter. I've always have been. I don't wait for permission. I just go ahead and do it. As soon as you give me like the space and the tools, or I can find the space and the tools to do it, forget it. It's going to be done. You're not going to stop me in that. So I built my own like little home digital studio in my dorm room and drove my various roommates completely fucking bonkers because I would be up until like 3, 4 in the morning, get up at 6 in the morning,
wow.
and then just go right back at it again. It was a little bit of a little nutty that back then, but it was something that I had to learn how to balance, because with all that kind of freedom, you also have to have the kind of rigor discipline in order to allow yourself to focus and actually complete the task you set yourself out to do. Because one thing that's very true about many, many artists is that we will start 10,000 projects and finish none of them.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, especially that's really such a story here in LA. And I mean, it's just like, man, I feel like with any creative pursuit, at the end of the day, there are talkers and doers.
Yeah.
But if we're being honest with ourselves, we all do a little bit of both.
Yeah,
like we all have those
essential
moments where we're like, oh yeah, no, this is going to be the thing, and then it starts, and then it just never gets to the finish line for whatever reason. The problem is when nothing is getting to the finish line. That's what
two sides of the same coin, right?
Right.
You've got doers. Well, you've got the act of doing on one end and the act of dreaming on the other. And talking is without a doubt dreaming.
Sure,
because everybody can talk. Everybody can talk. I'm eating up the airwaves right here, but the point is that like you have to find that balance. Like rest the coin on its edge, and you can get both done.
Yeah. So then, what was kind of the trajectory post college then?
Post college was basically like, oh shit, it's 2005. I'm entering into probably the worst job market at the time since the Great Depression. I got to find something to do. So it was basically just like me working at the local supermarket, kind of bagging groceries, going through produce, and kind of just stocking shelves, build what money I could so that I can at least like buy materials, pay bills, pay for gas, and try to find means of actually like getting the work that I wanted to do done. While I was also looking for more lucrative work, whether that was in advertising or in TV and movie and film production, or it was in broadcast when terrestrial radio was still a thing.
Sort of a thing. I mean, by that point, it was still like sort of a thing.
Yeah, it was like everybody was like reading the writing on the wall, like, oh shit, we got to get it in order because this thing called the internet is right around the corner. And Facebook was slowly taking over college after college. Yeah, that was an interesting time being the guinea pig for that program. But
yeah, I remember that. You needed to have a .edu email address.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. And that program lasted for about a good 3 or 4 years, and then Facebook said, you know what? We like money. We like a lot of money. So we're going to give fake investment portions to our company, and you're just going to think it's worth something.
Yeah,
technically still not, because they're still running at a loss, but that's a whole other story.
That was the plan all along. I mean, the plan all along was just, he wanted to make just a huge platform. Anyway, but all right.
Yeah, that's a conversation for another time. Let's talk art.
Yeah, that's a whole big can of worms.
Yeah. So after college, I was basically just trying to create some fine art, try to promote what college works I had, go to different galleries that were around Rockland and the Lower Hudson. Rockland's where my immediate family was based in and around at the time, so I would be traveling down to Nyack and Piermont and a lot of the other coastal towns, hopping over to Westchester and trying to find some other spaces that I can at least like put a foothold down into, and then slowly march into the city and try to break even there. That took a lot of time. It never really materialized. I started getting a few different gigs in advertising and film production, and that's where most of my focus went for a long enough time. So, throughout all those years, I was still drawing, I was still painting, I was still illustrating and cartooning and all this kind of stuff. But it became less of a focus of a main career choice and more of a meditative practice. Because it was something that was actually keeping me balanced in all of the nonsense of the world.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's art heals, and it keeps you grounded in many ways.
Absolutely.
Well, so I guess let's kind of get into Lucy and Ron.
Yeah.
That's how you and I met. You reached out to me, because I was just sort of writing them. They were just sort of like dialogues.
Yeah.
And you were like, this should be on paper. And I had no idea how to actually do a proper webcomic. It was all just like scripts and all just like too long dialogues. So, like, I learned a lot about the format when we started doing it, because I had just never done it before. But like what?
Go ahead, please.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, honestly, like what the scripts that you handed me, and this all came on the heels because I was already in the middle of another project that I was starting off, where I was going to be doing lesser known celebrity or lesser known personalities and doing caricatures of them and putting them out in the public. Because that's initially how you and I started talking. Was that I made one of you and Graham Elwood, and you loved the one I came up with. I did, and we started talking and chatting about that. Then you pitched the idea of the comic to me, and it's like, all right, send me your writings. And they read really well, very natural dialogue, a good back and forth. It read like it was a radio play for the most part.
Yeah.
It was just very dialogue driven.
Very dialogue.
You kind of heard the difference between their voices, which radio plays translate really well into animation. And it was like, okay, there's really something here. So let's try to work things up, and that's how we got our first 7 comics done. Of, just Lucy and Ron greeting the day, and coming up with that infamous line of time is just of an artificial construction. Yeah. And it was that line of like, okay, this thing's got some legs, he's got some depth to it. He wants
when Lucy says that.
Into it.
Oh, that's fun.
The very first page.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, because Lucy wants him to feed her, and he's okay.
Yes. And she's just trying to get him out of bed in every way conceivable. Hey, there's this guy at the door that has a whole bunch of classic LPs, like First Prince. Like, you should come take a look at this. Somehow then Netflix comes into the whole thing, like, yeah, they want to shoot a special in your living room. We're like, what? What's going on? And you walk out, you have your glasses on, like, oh. And everybody's talking to each other. You've got the Teamsters that are raiding your fridge. You've got the guy with the big milk crate of LPs, one of your neighbors, and he's talking with the audio tech, and they're just fucking shooting the shit back and forth. You got the executive producer rambling around and running around like an idiot, just trying to get everybody on pace. You've got the script supervisor who's just like, look, I don't know what the fuck's going on here. All of you are goddamn insane, but I'm just trying to keep my own fucking sanity here in check. It was such a fun scene to build out, and honestly, like, if we ever get a chance to animate it, like that's got to be the first episode right there.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was so cool when you wanted to bring it to life in that way, and then when I saw those sketches, I was like, Jesus, this guy can draw, and this is like the perfect vision for Lucy and Ron. Like, it just makes total sense, and I never would have thought of this myself. Well, I never could have made it myself because I can't draw to save my life. But it was just so like, hell yeah! And then we were just off to the races. I think that I had no idea, still don't know how to like kind of. I don't want to use the word monetize because I feel like it's more like. More like just like established, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like I just don't know how to do that with a webcomic. And that was like the mystery.
That's the trick.
That is the trick. And that was something that, because it was never something we could really lean into on a full-time basis, because you had other projects, I had other projects, we just like would try to see if something would sort of stick to the wall. And I think did. We just didn't have a dime to show for it. And unfortunately, we're both grown-ups.
And we have bills to pay. We're no longer high schoolers or college students that just like, you know what, fuck it. We got time. We got time.
I mean, if we both won the lottery, you know,
that would be a fucking treat, wouldn't it? Yeah. Well, let's see. I'm sure I can find some level of grant that I could at least put this into a little bit of a passion project at some point. But that's always the thing that like. And this is something that we talked about early on, is that it doesn't really matter like if we're able to get a full animation production or short series off the ground. The point is that now that we have 100 pages, especially now that we have 100 pages, we have the groundwork not only for a series, but we've also got the storyboards. We've got the beats. We've got the structure of how we want to set the scenes. We have many different styles of how we want to handle all the characters. The human characters didn't change that much. Lucy and the other animals in the scenes, though, holy shit, they changed dramatically, but in so many of the best ways, because as
I love those stories.
Illustration changed from this very real, like semi-realistic cat, you know, still big expressive eyes, big expressive mouth, but as time went on, once we finally got to like page 50 and 70 and 80 and on, you started seeing this more like cartoonified, very Looney Tunes-esque, classic like Tex Avery, Fred Quimby, Chuck Jones style of big expressive eyes, good squash and stretch of basically like just making sure that expression is first and foremost with all the visuals. And it was so much fun to just dive into this and just kind of just like shock, aghast, joy, and all these other emotions to go along with it, and just having Lucy really just have fun with it. Because like the first Night Patrol episode we did, where especially and then we had the second one coming after that, where she's going toe to toe with the evil vacuum cleaner.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, that was just so much fun to just really just kind of like play with the whole scene.
Yeah, those were just so many. I mean, yeah, just so many cool stories, and I really, and it was interesting, like from a writing standpoint, drawing that balance of like some of these are just going to be like the universal cat experience, but we also want to have like a more kind of cemented story here, because there's just the socially conscious element of Lucy and Ron, how there's like almost like this you know, like when we dive into her double life as the leader of Fart, you know, like there's this sort of civic component of it, you know, that kind of expresses a lot of commentary about the world. So like there's this sort of other layer to Lucy and Ron, you know, and unfortunately time and resource constraints, you know, prohibited us from but there's so much. I mean, when the pandemic hit, like the lockdown portion of the pandemic hit, I mean, I was just writing Lucy and Ron scripts because I was just like, we were just home all the time. Yeah. It's just like Lucy was just there, and I was just cranking those out, sending them to you, being like, read this. What do you think? Like, could we?
And they were fantastic. Like I remember like when you like one of the scenes where you were coming home with groceries, just like fully kit out, rubber gloves, mask, and everything. And Lucy's got the whole kitchen cordoned off with like caution tape the whole way through. She's, you know, hairnet on, gloves on, apron on. She's just scrubbing away, just like on her hind legs. It's like, what the fuck is this cat doing? Yeah, she's acting like she thinks she's human. I don't know. No, I don't think we understand. We're living in her world. We're all acting like really dumb, upright cats.
Oh, dude, yeah, and then those like full length scripts. I just man, I really wanted us to get a chance to like somehow. You know, I mean, obviously, like once we got to that point, we needed somebody else to cut a big old check. But
then we could just start bringing people on to put the whole project together.
But yeah, it's like it's just like there are so many. I've written more, you know, like the Lucy and Ron pilot was shopped around pretty extensively, and then I mean, I wrote pretty much a series, and it's just like
you did, and those scripts are fantastic. I really am looking forward to the day we get to make those living pieces. Although, let's be honest, like the recent news about the Netflix WB merger does.
Oh God!
Concerned. Oh, deeply concerned. Not to say that Warner Brothers was going to do all that great when they were bought out by Discovery, but like, the problem with a lot of production companies right now is that there's a lot of middle management, and they tend to run a bit roughshod over everybody. because they think themselves as being the creative force behind everything.
Yeah, I mean that's putting it gently.
I'm trying to be diplomatic here, Ron. I work in this field.
Well, me too, man. I hear you, but yeah, man, it's. I feel like eventually it's just going to be Amazon and Netflix. That's it. And then they're going to merge.
It's just going to be.
Then Musk and Bezos are going to be like, can we make more money if we somehow merge and completely ruin the world? And they're going to be like, yeah, I guess we can. And then that's
basically, and I'm just going to look at those two boys and like, look, you already have all the money in the world. You're basically taking more money out of the people that you're trying to make money off of. So, in all honesty, just my suggestion, you don't have to do it, but maybe just kind of like,
just stop.
Stop. Yeah, just kind of stop. Retire, relax for a little bit. Like, I understand, like, even like people still want to work and find themselves purposeful, but let's be honest, like, do you have any hobbies? I mean, do you have anything that you use to decompress? And like, I'm just concerned now. Like, it's not at a point like I'm just angry at them. I'm just concerned.
I think
like,
the answer,
don't seem that good.
To that question is either going to be no or horrifying. Like the answer is going to be no, we don't have any or there's going to be a yes answer to that, and it's going to terrify everybody. But so I actually have a theory that what we should do, and I know this will be a pain in the ass for a lot of people, but I still think it's worth it. Every 10 years, we just like restart the internet. We just completely we just start over everything except your emails, because that'd be a pain in the butt. But everything else is just gotta like, and you get notification, like you get notification where it's like, hey, 10 days. We're gonna, so you can be like, okay, well, can I, and you can like reserve your domain, like you can be like, okay, like you can claim romflacone.com for the reset, and then you can do whatever. But it's just every 10 years they just start over again. And if you made $5 million or more off internet activities, the first like whatever 10-year sweep it was, you don't get to participate next time. You won. You've won.
Congratulations.
You won. You're good. You have enough money. You win. So now somebody else, like a new generation gets to, and then after about 10 years, it's going to suck again. And so they just reset it. So it's just like, there will be plenty of micro Amazons, but there will never be another Amazon. And that'll be, it won't be perfect. But it'll be better.
It doesn't have to be. Like you've got a hard generational install. Yeah, it's 10 years, but you basically like you take everything you can get off the internet, you keep whatever you can, and then you put it back out after that 10-year reset.
Yeah. And
that's basically that's great. That's great. Honestly, like, not gonna lie, like Web3, kind of capable of doing that.
Yeah, I mean, you probably can explain that stuff a lot better than I can. I'm like, no. I'm not saying do it now.
We're not doing it now. We're not doing it now. I'm going to put my foot in my mouth, and then I'm just going to be tasting feet all day.
I don't know. I don't understand enough about that to speak cohesively on it. But I'm intrigued. I mean, anything.
Oh yeah.
But so. Well, I will bring this up too. Like when you and I, had a bit of a I don't know, falling out's a bit harsh, but like we definitely had like a disagreement, which was
a tiff. It was a tiff.
A tiff that was 100% my fault, and it was out of just lack of awareness, and it was I was going through unrelated things that were really like coming down on me, and I kind of took it out on you, and I felt incredibly guilty because I took a step back and realized how badly I fucked up and felt really stupid. And I really struggled during like kind of childhood and up through like college to control my temper. And a lot of people that know me in more recent times are surprised to learn that about me. And that's because like it's been decades of effort. But, it's not perfect and it's not totally linear. And, like when I think of mess ups in recent years, obviously like you and I are among those. Like those are like almost relapses. Like it's almost like I had a relapse. And unfortunately you were you were one of the recipients.
It was kind of like downrange from that.
Yeah. You were downrange from it, which I felt very guilty, very embarrassed, and also just bad.
No,
So
I get you, man. Like,
it means a lot to me that we were able to reconcile.
Yeah.
And then, but so like, what kind of went into that on your end? Like just as far as forgiveness is concerned, and as far as like, like rekindling that friendship and collaboration.
Well, the thing is,
you could have just told me to fuck off.
I could have, but the thing is, like, the thing is that, and this is something that I had to learn about myself, and I did have a lot of my own anger issues growing up and going through the years, and it's just basically just a matter of that level of passion that you have inside of yourself. Is one of the things that we have as creatives, is this enormous amount of passion that we have for our craft, and when we're not able to fully express it, because we were in lockdowns, because you weren't able to do your crowd work, crowd-centered, community-driven performances, you suffer in that sense because you're entirely constricted. You're restrained. You're not able to allow a lot of these other emotions to process. And so I understand what that is like, not being able to fully like put yourself out there and do the things that you really want to do. And I understood where that a lot of it was coming from, and it broke my heart to have to hear you going through all of this pain. But I never held it against you because I knew who you were before this blow up, because we had been working together for years prior to that. So all I basically just said, okay, he's going through a tough time. He's got things he's got to work out. I'm going to just take a step back. Let him process that, and we'll reconnect when he's feeling right for it. And like it's something that we should all allow each other to have just give each other a little bit of grace, because we don't know what's going on with somebody else. Somebody who's been a good friend to you for much longer than this entire spat had started. You have to at least give people a little bit of grace to allow them to have space to come back. You don't have to help them through the door, but you should at least not lock it on them as they left. Just leave the door open. If they're feeling right for it, they'll come back. And if they're able to at least be more integrated with themselves, able to accept the let's talk Jungian, they're able to incorporate their shadow into themselves. They're able to take a look at a lot of their darker aspects and bring them into the light, and actually have taken the time to work on them, to improve themselves, to, like I said, integrate what they had done and build their foundation stronger, build themselves. And that's part of what Offer of a Fractured Heart, the painting behind me, is about. But that's should be following online. I think I have that listed on my website, paintedbull.art. Yeah, it's a matter of just coming back as a more whole and complete person, because we are all offering ourselves to each other. Broken, a little mismanaged in some places, but you shouldn't dismiss it, because there is a lot of light and care and love inside of all that.
I appreciate that, man. A lot. I mean, thank you. Yeah, that means an awful lot. And yeah, it meant a lot to me when we were able to, kind of rekindle things, when I was able to just, make a full apology to you, and you were like, yeah, man, we're good now. Like we're good. That's a special thing, and not everybody is so fortunate. You know what I mean? Like it's just like there's a lot of times where that never really, gets to be set right. And whenever that happens in life, and it happens to all of us, it's part of being human. But, I think especially like kind of creatives, it's like we take that hard,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're very ego-driven. Very, very ego-driven. No doubt about that. But that's the thing. Like, that's why it's important just to allow the ego at times to melt, because that's where the healing really starts coming in. The integration happens after you have that ego death. And then, like a phoenix, you just rise straight up from the fucking ashes. But you become a much more whole and complete person, because you've integrated all of these past experiences into the new version of yourself that you're coming into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, totally, man. And yeah, I do appreciate that. And I'm glad we were able to, like rekindle and continue Lucy and Ron. And unfortunately, the future hiatuses of Lucy and Ron had everything to do with just the fact that we can't clone ourselves. which is
and be in multiple places at the same time.
You're right, which is completely
so nice.
No kidding, right? I mean, I wish if we could just have 2 clones that could just do nothing but Lucy and Ron, we could finally get it to where it should be.
But we had to feed them and find them a place to sleep, and that's the.
Yeah.
There's a little thing of like the cost of living. Wishful thinking, though.
Yeah, right. So then, you have kind of getting back to you then, like you've turned this sort of not new page, but you've really been able to kind of bring this to a point. I mean, you're doing more shows than ever before, and you're really kind of leaning into this. So give a little bit of like just a summary of how you were able to kind of get there and what that all means to somebody who doesn't really know, who knows the basics of how that world works, but doesn't know all the, kind of all the fine details.
Of course. So one of the big benefits of being a born and raised New Yorker is that I have access to all of the 5 boroughs of New York. So, and the thing is, like, New York is still a very big cultural hub when it comes to fine art and performance and all that kind of stuff. So having the space here is an enormous blessing. So I take it very much to heart that is a big reason why I've been so busy over the last couple of years. But at the same time, like, I understand where there's a lot of artists and a lot of people who are very passionate about their craft and don't have access to this. So I'll lay down some things that are fairly universal, whether you're in a big city or not. The first thing I would always recommend for people is don't worry about doing shows. Don't worry about it. There will be time where you'll have to do shows, but just make sure that you have a portfolio that has enough depth to it that you, if you ever have the opportunity, can launch a few pieces into one space, a few pieces into another. You mail stuff out. You do online presentations. There's tons of avenues nowadays. The internet is a boon for all this kind of stuff. But even if you don't have access to those spaces, there are still local coffee houses. There are still local cafes, restaurants, bars. These are all great spaces to have art hung up. And it doesn't have to be like these super complex, like hanging insulation sculptures that basically took like $10,000, a whole bunch of scrap metal, and then very various and unusual places for plastic netting. But that's beside this point. The whole thing is that there are spaces that people want to see art. Art is an entirely human basis for it. Performance or music or visual arts or dance or whatever the case, it doesn't matter what medium it is. Art is a human expression, and it's necessary for us to survive, to thrive, to change, evolve, moreover. So, open calls, always a great thing, but always make sure you have a solid portfolio to back you. Take a look at different online art magazines. Social medias are great for getting your artwork out, start discussions, try to open dialogues. Reddit, on and off, great, not great, but the point is, if you take the same painting and you spread that along to 5 to 10 different spaces, whether they're different subreddits or art groups in all these different channels, the point is that, let's say maybe only 10 people got that. You already reached out to 100 people across all those platforms, all those different spaces. That's not nothing. I maybe get 100 to 100 people at best, given like the night of whatever open call I'm going. And I am one painting among 30 artists. And like, I've got a show right now, actually. It's over at the 440 Gallery in Park Slope in Brooklyn. And it's over on 6th Avenue. And the thing is that it being the 21st annual show, this space has been around for a long time. And one of the things that was made very clear is that among 500 artists all submitting, we're talking like well over a couple thousand paintings and images and sculptures being submitted for the show. I was among 72 artists, among 73 works that were selected among that. Now that among 25, I think it was like 2,500 some odd images that they had to go through, I was one of 73. And that's a huge honor. That is a huge honor to receive.
Yeah.
And I couldn't.
Well, and you're also, I mean, I'll say it. Yeah. Well, also, I mean, I'll say it, but you're also really, really fucking good. You're not supposed to say such a thing, but it's like, you're also really fucking good. It's still an honor, but it's also like, yeah, dude. And you also, like that's the type of quality you deliver because of a life's pursuit of this thing, which we talked about.
yeah. And that's pretty much the theme we're hitting on for the podcast for sure.
Well, and I just, no, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean
that. Yeah. I just wanted to close up with the whole recommendations thing. But yeah. Talk to your local community. Don't worry about what's going on the internet more than anything else. Community is probably the best place you're going to find it. Find a space for your art to live. But the thing is that because of how economics currently are, my recommendation is try to make paintings and artwork that doesn't cost you too much to make, and you could probably price around like $100 to $200. People are willing to at least, like, if it's something that really does move them, they'll spend $200. If it's something they really do enjoy, they'll spend $100. If you can get prints of your work done, if you do a lot of digital stuff, or if you have like just good camera, whether that's on your phone or whether you actually have or have a friend who has a good camera, just get a couple digital shots of it in good even light. Take it to a local printer, get those done. You can even take it to Staples, and they'll actually do a pretty decent job. And just sell those for like $20-$30 a piece. Like, people are willing to put artwork up in their homes and have their lives around it, because art speaks in a language that we don't have words for.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I love that. Then that's awesome. Yeah, it's one of those things, like, you don't really know how that works, but then when someone explains it to you, you're like, oh yeah, I see that everywhere. That makes complete sense. Cool. Yeah. Like, well, tell everybody where they can learn more about you, both on the internet and if there's any folks in Brooklyn.
Yeah. So first and foremost, if you are going to be in the New York City area, I have a show for you. At the Resorts World Casino over in Jamaica, just outside of Jamaica, Queens, down by JFK Airport. There is an art show called Redwall, and we're expanding the show that we were just closing this weekend at the Jamaica Center for Arts and Learning. We're just closing that up this weekend, and two of my pieces, Red Vein Reverie and Viridian Reprieve. That's half of the 4-piece series that I'm working on called Sisters of the Garden Mind. It's Red Vein Reverie is probably one of my most popular pieces right now. So for those who are just listening in, imagine a woman draped in red. Her skeleton from the collarbone down is fully exposed. Her heart, the ribs around it, are open, exposing her heart, but all there's ribbons of this red wrapping around her, falling off of her, almost as if there's an inner tempest within her and outside of her, kind of shaping her and pulling her back together. And she just has a soft smile as she brushes what appears to be her hair, but is actually a massive bouquet leading from the middle of her nose on up. And what it's supposed to represent is, though we expose ourselves to the world, our mind should be a light in transformation. We are not static beings. We are effortlessly and constantly changing. So when we expose ourselves, we open ourselves up to the world, just as if a flower were to open its own petals. So if you want to see that in person, the original and her sister, Viridian Reprieve, will be at Redwall at Resorts World Casino starting December 12th. And we'll be going on for, if I remember correctly, 6 weeks. We'll be starting that show at 6 p.m. At about 7, we'll be doing a little forum that'll have the collection of artists that were accepted into that show sit down for a little Q&A session. But that will be my last show of the year. I'd love to see you all there. Otherwise, if you want to find me online, you can find me at Painted Bull Art on Twitter, on Instagram, which I'm most active, and on Facebook. If you want to find my portfolio and body of work, or at least like to purchase some Lucy and Ron merchandise, you can find it all at paintedbull.art.
Well, Chris, thank you for bringing Lucy and Ron to life with me, and thank you for giving me a second chance. And last but certainly not least, thank you for doing this podcast.
Absolutely, man. I couldn't be happier to be here and chatting with you on air. It's been a long time coming. I kind of expected, but this is the right time for both of us, I'd say.
That was Chris Liatsis. Check out all of his stuff. Check out the Lucy and Ron store. And if you're in the New York area, check out that show. It sounds awesome. I wish I could get there, but that sounds amazing. Everyone in the New York area, definitely go to that. Music for the 1000 Podcast is provided by Andrew Saxonov. Be sure to check out his podcast, the Bay Watching Podcast, wherever you get your podcast. Leave us a 5-star review, would you? Please do. Leave some love. It really helps get the word out about this show. And if you want to support the show on the sustainability end, you can do so over at patreon.com/Ron Placone. For a give what you can level, you get all kinds of cool perks. We do a Zoom hangout once a month. You get full stand-up clips not available anywhere else. You get insider info on upcoming projects and films. And I got some really exciting things getting ready to launch in 2026. So we got a really cool community over on Patreon. Again, that's patreon.com/Ron Placone. All right, number 118. We're almost at 120, and I wonder, is it gonna be? I think we might be at an even 120 by the end of the year. Not that really matters or even means anything, but I guess it's kind of yep. It looks like we will end with an even 120 at the end of 2025. That's interesting. That's a reasonable round number. All right, catch you next week. Peace. Hey guys, Ron Placone here. Take your own 1,000 challenge. No, you don't need to interview 1,000 people, although if you want to do that, go for it. Your 1,000 challenge can be whatever you want. Maybe you want to call a friend out of the blue once a week. Maybe you want to read a book every month. Maybe you want to start a different garden every season. I guess that might be dependent on where you live. Look, the point of the challenge is taking on an endeavor that enriches your life in some way, and it can be measured. And then, of course, you do it regularly. That's what 1,000 is doing for me, and hopefully for you too. The main reason for this podcast and every podcast I've ever done is to build community. So take your own challenge. Then join our Facebook group. It's called 1,000 What's Your Challenge? ? That's 1,000 What's Your Challenge ? And post about what your 1,000 challenge is and the progress you're making. All I ask is that people be encouraging of each other's challenges. This is personal and vulnerable, so be cool. There's enough negativity on social media. We don't need to add to it. For those of you who aren't on Facebook, hopefully in the future we'll be expanding to places like Discord, Reddit, but for now, we're starting on Facebook. And again, that Facebook group is called 1,000 What's Your Challenge? See you there.